guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called Top 10 Things Canadians Want You to Know. Okay, so apparently we're going to be learning some secrets, hidden secrets about Canada. I'm excited, so let's check it out and comment, like, and subscribe.
Everyone's favorite friendly country has some fun facts to share. Welcome to WatchMortal.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things Canadians want you to know. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking to clarify Canadian stereotypes, correct misconceptions.
Yeah, so no polar bears in Canada. I think that's a cliche. That's not true, probably. No, there are no polar bears in Canada.
Or generally gush about things that we think you should know about this North American country.
I'm Canadian.
Okay, good to know.
Number 10, it's not winter all the time.
Okay.
When many people think of Canada, they picture blizzards and polar bears. And don't forget the
Yes, I now know it isn't, that's not true. But yes, they have a reputation for being, it's just frozen, it's cold, and it's winter all the time.
stereotype that all Canadians live in igloos.
My good friend Ned.
I did not know that. That's a thing. They apparently all lived in igloos. That seems crazy. Of course, that's not true.
Tuck and I would build an igloo to protect ourselves from polar bears
No.
and flying hockey pucks.
Maybe that one seems a little bit true with the hockey pucks. They're really into hockey. I don't think that's a lie.
While it's true that Canadian winters can be intense and long, Canada does warm up during the summer months.
I wonder which one's worse. Probably a Swedish winter. I think Swedish winters have a reputation for being very cold and very harsh. Which one would be worse? A Canadian winter or a Swedish winter? We'd love to make the comparison. Probably, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know the statistics, but maybe just ask two people that have lived through both and, I don't know, compare, grab a bunch of people and ask them.
Igloos would be pretty useless.
There are many ways to describe the summer of 2012. Hot, dry, extreme.
Awful.
But if you're feeling the burn, consider it a unifying Canadian experience.
Like in many other
Okay.
countries, Canadian seasons are varied and unique. Visit in the summer or fall, and you'll be surprised at just how warm it can get, especially in the southern
This
part
looks
of the
gorgeous.
country.
Is this real?
Though one thing is certainly true. Visiting Montreal in the winter can get a little slippery. Number 9.
Oh, because it was ice. Oh, I thought this is person drunk. What's going on? Okay, it's ice. It's lighting.
Toronto is not the capital of the country.
No,
While
of
there
course
is a
not.
joke that they like to consider themselves the center of the universe, contrary to popular belief,
I did not know that. They have a reputation for being very full of themselves, probably.
Toronto is not the capital of Canada.
So, you guys doing anything fun while you're in town?
Fun. In Toronto.
It is, however,
Okay, so what is it? Is it boring, apparently? Well, for them, is that the joke?
the largest city in Canada by population and the 4th largest in North America, just
Wow,
above
4th
Chicago.
largest.
The
Oh.
title of Canadian capital goes to the much smaller and quieter Ottawa,
How did we
Yeah.
end up with Ottawa?
So it is the capital of Canada.
a lovely city dedicated mainly to being the center of government, much like Washington.
I have to say, all this architecture that apparently it's in Ottawa, it's really, I wasn't imagining this type of architecture in Canada. It seems very European.
Washington, D.C., Ottawa often gets
Look at
mocked
this.
for being boring.
Suburban Ottawa's great. It has everything Brooklyn does. Really.
Doubt it.
Other than my job and my friends and my family.
Everything.
you, interesting people, museums, restaurants.
While not as
Okay, so I take it it's not very touristy because there's not a lot of things to do.
exciting as Toronto, perhaps, Ottawa's charms are still not to be missed.
Yeah, it's probably historical.
Paris of Central Canada.
Number 8.
Okay, so they're always the butt of the joke. I'm catching on.
A Canadian invented basketball. Believe it or not,
What?
it was the Canadian James Naismith, a McGill University graduate, who invented this popular sport back in 1891. Naismith was a phys ed
I thought this sport was definitely older. 1891, that's yesterday. I don't know why I thought this was much, much older. I think it seems like a sport people would have played back in all throughout the 1800s, but also I think it catch them really quick. It's a very famous sport to be so recent.
teacher at the YMCA International Training School in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Wonder how it came
He
out to be.
struggled with a class of students who were disobedient and short-tempered
Oh.
due to being stuck inside all day
Were they tall?
thanks to a harsh winter. He resolved to create an indoor game to keep
Harsh winters, okay.
the students distracted and that would help them stay in shape. The end result was basketball.
100 years after James
Was it an actual basket as we're seeing? It looks like a trash can.
Naismith from Almont, Ontario invented it. Basketball was being played by hundreds of millions of people around the world.
Yeah, that's crazy. Although I have to, sorry Canadians, but I don't think they're that known for their basketball and their basketball. I think they're kind of semi-famous. I'm thinking of the NBA. So it's kind of weird to me that they invented this sport, but they're probably not that worldwide known. So maybe between people that really do know about basketball, but me not knowing anything, I think the Americans are more famous at it.
Number 7. Canadian bacon is just ham.
There's
Really?
bacon.
So what do they call it? Canadian bacon?
Yep, that's right. The term Canadian bacon is actually one made up by Americans.
Oh,
In Canada, it's
okay.
known as back bacon, which is a far more accurate term, but really it's just ham. Just
Okay,
look
so-
at it. Does that really look like bacon?
No.
And Canada agreed.
But why make the distinction then?
If ham's Canadian bacon, then what the hell do you call bacon?
Canadians
Exactly.
take their bacon seriously, and as such, the fact that Canada's come to be associated with this term borders on being offensive to the Canadian culinary world.
Oh my,
In all
okay.
seriousness, real Canadian bacon is excellent if you live south of the border. So if you want a real taste of Canadian
ham.
bacon, you'll just have to make the trip.
Okay, but it's
We
ham.
highly recommend the maple glazed variety.
Oh, that sounds good.
You gave me Canadian bacon instead of bacon? This misdeed cannot go unpunished.
Number 6. Tim Hortons isn't our only national coffee chain.
Oh.
Sure, when you're in the mood for
Well,
a quick
sure.
double-double or a box of Timbits, Timmy's is a great place to stop.
Do they call it Timmy's? I think like the equivalent would be Donkeys. Not everyone calls it Donkeys, but Donkeys, Timmy's. Okay, that's really funny.
Free donuts.
Just donuts, okay? They're like 2 for a loony.
But it's not
A
Canada's
loony?
only coffee chain, or even its best. Second Cup is another of Canada's national coffee chains, and some would argue it's much better, albeit
Oh.
typically more expensive.
But I've never heard of it.
What's your second cup of coffee?
Third. Why?
You could also try Montreal-based Van Hoot, which has cafes across the province of Quebec.
Is it
While
French?
competitive pricing, amazing marketing campaigns, and its place in pop culture has made Tim Hortons the reigning champ, you still got options. Plus,
It's the most known, I have to say.
we even have Starbucks.
Sure, yeah.
Is excellent.
Probably not very popular because they have a Timmy's and they have the others. So I don't think Starbucks is probably that popular over there.
Number 5, we have 2 official languages.
English and French, right?
Canada who got married way too young. They had to do their vows twice, once in French.
They speak French there too? God, that place is a mess.
The history of
Why?
Canada is shaped by both the English and the French, with
Yeah.
the two both laying claim to parts of the land until the 7 Years' War, at the end of which France ceded its colony to the English. Thanks to the policies of official bilingualism enacted in the 20th century, both languages are protected and represented today.
If it's Canada, just say the word. And then say it again in French.
These policies ensure that citizens can be served by the federal government in both languages, and politicians seeking to lead the country typically learn both French and English.
Leadership
But do they have to deliver the speeches in both French and English? I'm genuinely wondering. This is not a joke.
is about bringing people of all different perspectives together. Je veux aussi rendre hommage
Oh, you
à
mix
Thomas
it.
Mulcair.
Or is it the
While
same?
most of the Francophone population lives in Quebec, there are many French-speaking communities across Canada,
Oh,
including a
okay.
large one in New Brunswick.
I thought they were only in just one place. Not that no, there are smaller communities scattered all throughout Canada.
Au Québec, on travaille en français. Fine. That leaves the rest of Canada under my jurisdiction, with the possible exception of some areas of New Brunswick.
Number 4, Canada is pretty progressive.
Oh, that's
To
good.
our neighbors, it often seems like Canada is lauded for being a progressive paradise.
When I
It's
think
true.
about Canada, I actually think of progressive.
While
Yeah.
it has its own share of social problems and debates, it is
Sure.
true that most of the fights on social issues that take such precedence in the American media have been solved in Canada. This is due in large part to stark differences between Canadian and American culture.
Yeah, it's different
Access to
societies.
abortion is almost a non-issue.
Oh,
Gay
that's
marriage has been
great.
legal since 2005, And even the Conservative Party doesn't oppose it.
You know, the strongest evidence
That's crazy to me because in comparison with the American conservatives, it would be wild that this is not even an issue. That's crazy.
for genuinely demonstrating a domestic partnership is to take a quick drive on up to Canada and legitimize your relationship.
Legitimize?
Get married.
There are still many problems in Canada, and it's
Sure.
by no means a progressive utopia. But the
What country is it?
country should be proud of all the progress it's already made.
Yeah, of course.
should move to Canada.
Number 3, not all police officers are Mounties. Those officers dressed in red suits
Okay.
and great big hats are members of the RCMP, or the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Your cops are called.
Okay, I have to admit, I'm being very silly about this. I thought all police officers in Canada were like that. I didn't know they had they're police as well. The normal type of police officer in a car. I didn't know they had those.
Called Mounties.
While Canada does indeed use Mounties on the federal level, cities and municipalities use regular police officers,
Okay.
as they do in most countries.
Okay.
Mounties enforce federal laws and will work closely with the provinces and municipalities.
It's so weird to see them walking. I'm used to seeing them on a horse. It seems weird for them to be walking. You need to be on a horse.
In order to accomplish their goals. And their tasks include dealing with organized crime, drug trafficking, and border control, among
Okay.
many other federal offenses. So, yes, Canada does have Mounties, but no, they don't go around solving crimes on horseback. And
I thought that was the case. I thought they were chasing crime and chasing the bad guys in their horses.
the country does rely heavily on municipal police forces as well.
Okay.
Also, Mounties
Normal.
don't always dress like that either.
What? And how would you recognize your Mounties? I don't like that. They have to be wearing their very characteristic uniform.
Canada. Our home and native land.
Number 2, healthcare isn't free. It's paid for by taxes.
Well,
No, it's
yeah, of course. No country healthcare is free. You're paying it yourself with taxes. I think in Canada and everywhere, a lot of places, not everywhere, but a lot of places in the world.
just don't walk.
Doesn't matter. They have free health care.
Oh my god.
Often when talking about the great things in Canada, free healthcare is brought up, but that term is a bit of a mischaracterization. Healthcare in Canada isn't somehow free. That'd make no sense. It's
Of
just paid
course.
for by taxpayer
Someone has to pay this.
dollars, because access to universal healthcare services is considered a right in Canada.
Canada.
Technically, it's a human right, but sure.
What, is everyone going to have access to universal health care so no one has to choose between going bankrupt and treating a life-threatening illness?
While
Yes.
some arguments persist about the best way to design and maintain a program of universal healthcare, and there are still complaints that Canada's system lags behind those in European countries, the large majority
Okay, yeah. In comparison to the U.S., miles ahead. Probably in comparison to Europe, well, maybe they are lacking, but I would assume it's a million times better than the U.S.
of Canadians agree that it's been
Although the bar is very low.
incredibly beneficial, and that healthcare is a great use of tax money.
Here's the
Yeah.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Real maple syrup. I hate that faco kind.
What's so bad about being Canadian?
Your milk comes in bags. Bags.
So yeah, apparently ketchup is so
A lot of things are coming at me. Okay, the bags, I think that's maybe not that weird. It's kind of weird, but not that weird to me. The maple syrup, yeah, maple syrup is different to pancake syrup. All dressed up ketchup flavored chips, yes, those are delicious.
hot in Canada that they just threw the
Those are so
artificial
good,
flavoring
actually.
all over the chips here.
Number 1, not everyone has that stereotypical accent.
Okay,
There's
but
not going to be any fight without Scott Riles.
yeah, I would guess everyone has a different accent, just like in the U.S., depending on the region, depending on the person. Everyone's going to speak differently. However, I will say, I would bet a lot of Canadians do the eh.
And the incredibly polite Canadian news team.
Incredibly polite.
Sorry about that, eh? While the accent does
Yes.
exist, it's more common in rural areas. And even then, people in the Maritimes and Newfoundland have their own distinct accent.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes have a funny way of saying things like about.
Yeah, the about is very weird how they pronounce it as well. Well, weird, yes. It is very distinct, and they're constantly saying like, sorry, I can't do it, but it's sorry as well. They do it differently.
The way they say about.
Which sounds like, what's that? A boot?
The majority.
They do the aboot. It's very weird to listen to a Canadian speak when they're saying about. It's a boot. Okay.
Of Canadians you meet, who will likely be from the big cities, don't talk with that accent. In fact,
that's a lie. Some of them from Toronto, Vancouver definitely do speak like that.
They sound very similar to Americans from big cities.
Yes, of course they sound similar, but when the about comes out, you'll know.
A weird thing for Canadian melodrama.
But a weird thing for girls who say a boot.
We will concede that Canadians do say the word a lot.
Yes.
But it's often misused by those mocking Canada.
I moved here from Canada and they think I'm slow, eh?
A is another way of saying
that was a parody. Of course, you're exaggerating for the comedy of it all, but they really do speak like that. I think most of them.
Right? Or, at the end of a sentence. A random word we just interject in the middle of conversations.
Yes.
Bet you learned something new today, eh?
Come on, what do we look like? Rookies? Sorry.
Do you agree with our picks?
Sorry,
Check out these other great clips from Watch Mojo and subscribe for new videos every day.
Okay, I love this video. I think there are so many good things. I didn't know. I think the most shocking, and I'm going to sound so ignorant, but yes, the Mounties, please. I stupidly thought, I know that if I think about this for 2 seconds, I think, yes, of course, it would be very silly of them to be just chasing crime and chasing people and chasing criminals in their horses. I think, again, if I think about it properly, but I hadn't actually thought about this, so I was, oh yeah, they're just riding their horses and chasing crime. And if you had an emergency of some sort, the horse is going to come, and the horse is going to come, and there's a person, obviously a police officer, but they're going to be in the horse, which I now know. No, it's not really the case. If you call a police officer, if you have an emergency, they're going to come with the alarm and the car and the whole usual process. The Mounties, yes, they do take care of things, but yes, I understand now. Depending on the federal police and the local police is going to be different. Obviously, they all have their functions, but it's not going to be, again, if you have an emergency, the horse is not going to come. Which again, I now understand how silly of me, because I'm actually speaking this out loud, and I'm realizing how completely dumb I sound by, doesn't a horse come in? No, of course a horse is not gonna come in. But good to know. I don't really like the idea of them not having their uniform. I think probably what they mean is they're not constantly using their uniform. They don't wear their uniform and their red uniform. They probably have normal police officer uniforms. I don't really like that. I think they should be distinct. I don't know, but maybe it's just me thinking. As a tourist, I would be very. I wouldn't do it. Obviously, I wouldn't seem that obnoxious. But I would love to. I would take a pic. No, I wouldn't. Of course not. But I would definitely. I think I would wanna, just because. It's a policeman on a horse. But yes, how are you going to recognize them if they're not on the horse and if they're not with the uniform? They're just regular police officers, and they also rely obviously on guns and other forces as usual. So okay, good to know, because I think I was imagining to the point, I don't know, again, maybe me being very silly, but I was imagining, I don't think Canada, and I think also because they have a reputation for being very peaceful, very polite, and they don't really seem to get into a lot of trouble, even internationally, or just they're not on the news for bad things. That's I think, or just again internationally. So I would think before this, I bet they don't even have. The police officers are in horses, and they don't really have, not to the point they have a sword. No, of course not. But as a taser or something. But I wasn't thinking, they really do have the police officers with the guns. I almost thought for a second, I don't think they probably have those, because again, they're so peaceful, they probably don't need it. No, they're not in that level apparently, but I think, again, you can just, it lets them sell. I think they're very characteristic. They have the red uniform with the hat, I think, and the horse. I think you would think, it's, they're so peaceful, they don't really need police officers in cars and with guns. They are just handling themselves like this. But no, okay, good to know. I would think a Canadian would probably be very offended by this. The other thing that I was kind of surprised about is I knew that they had two languages, the English and French, but I didn't know that there was this specific it's more isolated in communities, and there's some specific communities that speak French. But because I knew, I think it's Quebec and the French province. I am expecting everyone there always to speak French. But I did not know. No, there are some other communities in other regions where everyone's going to speak French. I would assume they also speak English just because, again, they have to be bilingual and they have to communicate with the other parts of the country. So I would assume they also speak English, but I did not know. There are isolated communities throughout Canada. Probably they are smaller, and English is obviously, it's the language everyone speaks, but I did not know it was that. They are scattered all over this country. And again, I want to know if the Prime Minister and the people in public office, do they have to deliver the speeches in both languages? I think it would be, it would be good, right? I would assume. Well, technically it's both. You would probably need to speak both. I mean, obviously they speak it, but do they have to deliver the speeches in both, or just depending on which province I am delivering my speech, I'm going to speak in French or I'm going to speak in English? I would love to know. The other thing I think it's really funny about this video is I'm learning the little I didn't know the little cliches they have about the cities. I know Toronto is probably the most famous. Well, Vancouver is also pretty famous, but I think Toronto as well. It's a pretty famous city. Just it's probably one of the most famous Canadian cities. And again, I would think it's very touristy. A lot of people visit Canada. I think it's because it's very close to New York as well. So technically, you could go for the weekend, technically. But again, it's just a more touristy place, and I think it's more in the conscious of well, I'm gonna say Americans just because of the proximity and because obviously they're neighbors. But I did not know they had a reputation for being because again, probably it's because they're one of the biggest cities, and it's probably the biggest. I think they mentioned this. It's the biggest city. It's not the capital, but it's like Washington. Yes, it's not. You're not thinking Washington is the capital, but you're not thinking. And a lot of tourists, obviously, they get a lot of tourists because people want to see the government and all that and the buildings. But to actually look at things, and I'm not saying Washington is a boring place, just as I'm not saying Ottawa in this case is boring, but I do think apparently from all the jokes, it's definitely they people do tend to think that. Again, it's kind of like the butt of the joke, not really the case, and not for everyone. But I think it's funny that apparently Toronto would be the LA or the NY, the New York of Canada, and Washington would be the Ottawa. Just again, maybe a bad comparison, but just in the attraction level, probably people wanting to visit, I think most people would be, I'm going to Canada, I want to visit Toronto. Probably Ottawa is probably not that high on my list unless you're looking, I don't know, maybe, of course, do your research before you go to a place and see, you know what, those kind of things are interesting to me, so I want to go there, depending on the things that you find in that city. But I think just overall, without knowing and without getting too much into this, I would assume that's a little bit the case. Maybe it's, or oddly put, I think maybe Toronto is the Las Vegas of Canada. Not because again, people probably want to go, and it's one of the most famous cities. Again, it's a bad comparison because I think the U.S. just has so many touristy cities that I don't think the comparison is apt. But something like that. It's a very touristy place, and people of course want to visit. But Ottawa, it's probably the most important city. As in Washington, probably a lot of tourists or not. It's obviously it's important for the country, but probably not for people visiting because there's not a lot of interesting things to do. And even Canadians that don't really live in those cities, if they want to visit the big city or they want to visit something, we're looking to have a vacation inside Canada, we're looking to visit other places, probably Ottawa is not that high on the list because there's probably not a lot of things to do. They were like, they don't have museums. I doubt it. Of course they're going to have museums, but probably the other types of the cool museums and the cool restaurants and the cool attractions are probably in Toronto, and Ottawa's more, probably I'm imagining something quite traditional. And again, you're looking at a lot of government buildings and beautiful architecture. It looked very old, very particular. But it's more historical, and it's a different kind of visit than if you're looking for that kind of vacation of I want to visit a lot of things, and I want to go out to eat, and I want to visit parks, and I don't know, I just want to visit a lot of the things the city has to offer. Probably Toronto is the case, and probably not Ottawa, but didn't know that. Good to know. And also Canadian Bacon. is ham. Please, someone explain this to me. That's weird. Why call it Canadian bacon if it's just ham? That's weird. Would love to know the history behind this. I thought it was just, I think it was a special thing. Actually, I haven't thought of this before. But yeah, I thought it was maybe, because it's maple glazed. I don't know. But it's weird that they make the distinction if it's just ham. So why call it Canadian bacon? It's really weird to me. I would love to know. But that was it for today. And I'll see you next time. Bye.